Hey guys, so today we're going to give the Mach 1 a little love. You notice here I've got the hood scoop taken off of it. Other than the bracketry, which is really dirty, I got to clean all that up. But imagine if all this bracketry for the hood scoop was gone. It really does look a whole lot like the old Cobra motors. Well, I guess it makes sense because a lot of family resemblance there. But anyway, so what I'm doing today, and I hope the camera can pick it up, but if you look at the hood scoop on this car, I'm not sure which angles the camera is going to pick it up the best, but there's a lot of imperfections in here. This car's got a lot of age on it, and obviously this is one of the hallmark features of the Mach 1, so a lot of people are kind of attracted to this one part of the car at car shows. And so what I'm going to do, there's a nice little nick or something there, not sure what that is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this. I just threw some painter's tape around it real quick, and I'm going to shoot it with some paint, try to make it look a little bit nicer. And instead of doing the full automotive stuff, I'm going to try, because this can easily be reversed. These things are pretty easy to take off the car. I'm going to try some Rust-Oleum Universal. I just want to see how this does. You know, it says it's for any surface. I've seen some good reviews on this. Guys have used it for a lot of different projects, so I'm going to try that, and we're just going to see what that looks like before we go full hog and spend a bunch of money on an automotive paint job. So we're going to hang this thing up. I washed it down with some detergent, some Dawn dishwashing detergent, to get all the grease and wax and everything off of it, and let it air dry really good. Use some compressed air to get all the water out of the crevices and everything, and then just put some painter's tape on here. So let's spray this down and see what it looks like. Hopefully this will make it look a lot better. Alright, so I brought it in the garage because it's kind of windy out there, and I just laid down a coat. Still wet in a couple of spots, but just standing back here looking at it, I think it looks a lot better already. I need to do another coat after this dries, try to get it a little more uniform, but I think it looks pretty good. So the hard part was getting up in the fins there on the front. Of course the camera doesn't want to cooperate. You can see the splotchiness on it, see that? I'm hoping that that will cover up. I cleaned it really good with that detergent, but you can still see the splotchiness in it. This may or may not work, I don't know. We'll see, but just trying to get it cleaned up a little bit more than it was. It's funny because, well, it's still got a wet spot over there, but depending on the angle, it doesn't look as bad. I don't know. We'll let this dry and give it another coat, see what happens, I guess. Alright, so it turned out, well, I guess we'll call it okay. I think that in the future, when I have the rest of the car painted, I'm going to have this professionally painted to make it look right. But it looks a little better than it did, so there's that. That Rust-Oleum just didn't quite, see the splotchiness right in there? Didn't quite cover that up very well, but like I said, it looks better than it did. It'll be good enough to get me by. It's almost fall. There's only a couple more car shows and cruises left anyway. So if you remember, when I first got the Mach, I had to do the front. The whole front end was just destroyed by rock chips, so I had to have the whole front end painted. And then I ended up running over some debris that fell off of a guy's trailer in front of me, so I had the bumper cover painted again. But the plan is long term is to get the rest of the car painted, because the rest of the car still has some rock chips on it anyway. So when I get the rest of the car done, then I'll have the hood scoop painted professionally, make it look good. But anyway, if you want to try and do this at home, main thing to remember is to wash it down really good, get all the wax and grease off first. And I did like 3 light coats instead of 1 heavy one. So there it is, looks decent. So the next project on the Mach is going to be probably the transmission. I know I keep skipping around, but as I drive this thing and take it to car shows and cruises, things keep changing in my priority list. So the transmission's been locking me out of third. I put the Steeda clutch quadrant kit on it, and that helped out quite a bit, but I noticed that it still doesn't always go into third. I have ended up having some missed shifts. You get above 6,500 RPM and those synchros just don't seem to be able to handle it, and it seems like it's more of a problem when the transmission gets hot. So you've been cruising all night, the car's hot, try to go for a wide open shift from 2 to 3 and it just ain't having it. So I found a guy that sells some parts, carbon synchro rings and some various parts to rebuild those 3650s with, and that's probably going to have to end up being my next big project on this thing, because if you can't shift it, then obviously you're not going to win any races. So going to have to handle that first before we go with more power adders, unfortunately. Got to take care of the fundamentals first. So anyway, we got a big car show coming up tomorrow night, and I'm going to take the GoPro hopefully and get some good footage for you guys. There's some really cool cars that show up down here on Friday nights, second Friday night of every month, October to April. So I'm going to try and show you some of those tomorrow night. All right, guys? All right, have a good evening. I'm getting off here. Time to eat some dinner. Later.